Hello.
It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno. It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hello, it's showtime. For real, it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? The Geno Jones Show. How are we doing? You good? I'm good. I'm excited. I'm always excited. Love bringing the show to you. For anybody watching in Florida, we send our prayers to everybody in Florida, especially Central Florida. Looks like you've got a Hurricane Ian that's going to be bearing down on that area, the southwest coast of Florida, Tampa, St. Pete, maybe just south Sarasota in that area. I'm not a weatherman, and this is not the Weather Channel, but I've been keeping an eye on it because we may get some of that weather coming up toward the Carolinas. So just want to lift any and everyone up in prayer who may be in the path of this storm, because it looks nasty. All right. So I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast, out in the City of Angels. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show. You and everybody you know and don't know, everybody that you like, that you love, that you just kind of okay with, folks you can't stand, folks you hate, strangers, aliens from outer space. I don't give a damn. Tell them all. The biggest, the best, the baddest show in the business right here, the Geno Jones Show. So today we are exactly 42 days away from Election Day, 6 weeks exactly from Election Day, and my guest is running to be the representative for the good people of South Carolina State House District 114, Michelle Brandt. So she's going to be joining me shortly. She's got a remarkable story. Sister's got her stuff together. She's bad, so you're going to enjoy this conversation. I know you will. Hopefully you'll support her if you live here in her district. So let's talk about, speaking of dynamic sisters and dynamic women, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. So, you know, she's launched a mental health, like a mental health website called, now this is what the website is called. She came up with the name, so don't at me, don't yell at me. Bad bitches have bad days too. And what would you expect Megan Thee Stallion to call it? Anything else? Yes, bad bitches have bad days too. Yes, we all do, Meg. I'm not mad at you now. Her website provides mental health resources, especially to the black community. Because, listen, just being a black person in America, I don't need to tell you. I think the whole planet, folks of all races could use therapy, but just surviving and thriving in America, being a black person, you know, having a therapist on hand, on standby, probably is not a bad idea. So shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. As a matter of fact, you can go to www.badbitcheshavebaddaystoo.com. I kid you not. This is not a joke. I'm dead serious about it. So shout out to Meg. I ain't mad at you, Meg. Handle your business. Do your thing. Happy birthday today, September 27th. All right, Libras, I see you. I see you out there. Lil Wayne, Dwayne Michael Carter, a.k.a. Lil Wayne, is 40. So can I institute a rule just in general? Can I do this? So there's got to be a cutoff. At a certain birthday, you can't be lil anymore. Even if your ass is little. I'm just saying, so maybe we can start with 40. So, all right, Lil Wayne, we're going to give you a mulligan since I just instituted this rule. But your next birthday, you ain't Lil Wayne. The former, you were Lil Wayne, but your ass is getting old Wayne. That's what we're going to wind up calling you next year. So, okay, Lil Wayne, 40 today. Trick Daddy, repping the 305, the MIA Miami 48 today, and happy heavenly birthday to a man, a brilliant man. He was a host, a producer, and he created one of the most popular and long-running shows in the history of television, a native of Chicago, Illinois, the south side of Chicago where I grew up. The man that made this phrase, love, peace, and soul famous. Mr. Don, I got the baddest afro in the business, Cornelius, back in the day. And as he got a little older and times changed, when we all started cutting the fro down, he cut his down. Shout out to Mr. Don Cornelius, born on this day in 1936. He would have been 86 today. The man, Soul Train was his vision. He started it off. It was a local show in Chicago. Like a year later, he went out to L.A. First episode, he had folks on like Gladys Knight, and the rest is history. So shout out to Don Cornelius, Mr. Don Cornelius. And shout out to his son, Tony Cornelius, who's a good friend of mine, who I haven't seen in years. So if anybody's watching this and knows Tony Cornelius, tell him, Geno, what's happening? We got to get in touch. We do. 42 days, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all got to take this thing serious. I was just looking at in Italy, where Mussolini. So Mussolini was Hitler before Hitler. Mussolini was a fascist that was racist, anti-Semitic, that subscribed to this white nationalist, that the white race is going to be replaced, foolishness and nonsense. In the late 20s, he was a dictator in Italy who sided with Hitler and who fought with Hitler against the civilized world. So they have a new leader who subscribes to the same ideology, believe it or not, that Mussolini did in terms of this right-wing, white nationalist fascism. And it's not staying over there because you know we got the whole MAGA crowd here. So you got 42 days. 6 weeks from today is election day. In many areas, you can vote early or by mail or absentee. So what you should do, contact the Board of Elections in the community that you live in, the county you live in, the state you live in. Usually it's by county, by city, whatever it is. Whoever's in charge of voting in your community, your city, your town, contact that Board of Elections. Make sure if you are already registered to vote, check your voter registration status, because folks are playing some funny games in Georgia and some other states, Texas, and they are targeting black people and people of color. Just randomly, people can just randomly challenge your name and say, this Geno Jones dude, he sound black. Let's kick him off the rolls. No joke, fact, truth. So, first of all, if you're not registered to vote, what are you waiting on? Register to vote today and check your voter registration status, because abortion rights and a woman's right to determine whether or not she wants to have a child is on the ballot. Civil rights, voting rights, whether or not we're going to keep this democracy or it's going to turn into a dictatorship and we will embrace, well, we won't, but fascism will take over. Anti-blackness, anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hate, anti-immigrant hate, misogyny, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, all of it is on the ballot. And my guest, she is running to be the state representative, running to represent District 114 here in the great state of South Carolina. She is, matter of fact, the Charleston County Park Commissioner, and she'll explain exactly what the Charleston County Park Commissioner does. So I am excited. I've been following her on social media, and I got a chance to meet her over the weekend. And today, she is here with me. Sound like a line in a song. She is here with me. Ladies and gentlemen, it is proud for me to introduce the candidate to represent District 114 here in the great state of South Carolina, Michelle Brandt. Michelle for SC, like our website says. Hello, Michelle. Welcome. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for having me on your show tonight.
I told you, I have been following you on social media. I see you doing your thing on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So I even spoke to some other people who are already up in the State House. So I was really excited to meet you and to get you on the show. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you. I'm excited to be able to share my platform with all your viewers.
Thank you. So we are 42 days away, exactly 6 weeks from today, Election Day. Even actually, Election Day will come sooner here in South Carolina because early voting will start pretty soon, and you can fill us in. So why don't you give us a little backstory? Tell us, who is Michelle Brandt and why are you running?
Okay, well, a little bit about who I am. My name is Michelle. I am an environmental scientist. I'm a mother of 2 elementary school age children. I've lived in West Ashley and Charleston for about 8 years, and I absolutely love it here. And I want to get into my why, because people always want to know, like, why are you doing this? So for me, after I moved here, I think I moved here right after Walter Scott happened. And then I was actually at a Bible study the night that the AME shooting happened. And then fast forward to 2020 when the pandemic hit, like everybody else in the world, we watched the murders of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor. And I decided enough was enough. I had had enough. And instead of being another angry voice on the internet, I was like, you know what? I want to try to be the change that I want to see. I want to do something about it. So I volunteered at a food distribution in downtown Charleston in the midst of the pandemic, one of the hottest days. And as I was passing out food, I met this man on a bike. He came up to me, asked me for groceries. I passed him some and I said, "Sir, would you like some frozen eggs?" Which he declined because he didn't have electricity or refrigerator where he lived. And I remember that was like my catalyst moment. I remember calling my husband, trying to like see if we could help him in some way, but my husband was like, "Michelle, we don't have the resources." And the man had left before I could circle back with him to try to see if I could exchange information. And I went home devastated, and I will never forget this man. And I called one of my friends, and she was like, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "Well, why don't you run for office?" And I was like, "Really?" So I said, okay. So I started going to county council meetings and city council meetings for the first time in my life. I was paying attention to local politics. And what I saw was a lot of men, and I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. And I was frustrated by that. And then I learned, that you don't have to be that intelligent to be a politician. I was frustrated. I was like, not everybody up there was saying things that made sense. A lot of them didn't seem like they even cared or were paying attention, and some of them didn't even bother to show up. And I was just like, I know I could do a better job. So I started to network with them, because I was just like, well, if anyone's going to know how to do this, they will. So I started like interviewing them and just saying like, how can I get involved in politics? And they're like, you should apply for a commission or a board. And I did. And that's how I became commissioner of Charleston County Parks and Recreation Commission. And after that, I used that for like networking purposes and just to get a better understanding of like how our government works, the Robert's Rules of Order. And then I decided, you know what, I want to run for the State House. So that's kind of how I ended up doing this now, running for office.
So had that been a goal of yours before? Now, what's home for you? You said you moved here to the Low Country. So
Yeah,
where were you
so
born and raised, and where'd you go to school?
I was born in Texas.
Okay,
I am an Army brat, so I really don't claim anywhere as home.
I understand.
But I moved here with my husband from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
The
Um,
DMV.
yes, moved here from there. I prefer here much better. I'm not a fan of the snow. And I love it here. I want to raise my family here, and I also want to make it better for everyone. I went to school at Towson University in Baltimore, and that's where I majored in environmental science and meteorology. I actually wanted to be a weather woman, but I changed my mind.
Oh, well, we could use your skills today with Hurricane Ian coming in.
Yes, and to answer your question, no. Running for office was never something I ever thought I would do in a million years. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have been like, no. But like I told you, like all those things happened. It was just like building and building. And I was just like, I was paying attention, and I was just like, one of the biggest things that came out of the racial uprising in 2020 was like, we need leaders that look like us. We need more representation and more diversity, and not just in race, but I'm talking like socioeconomic status and career. And I noticed that in the state house, a lot of the people up there are attorneys. And I'm bringing my scientific background, and I know I could do a really great job bringing my analytical mind and research and data to making the policies that we need to actually make improvements to the things that matter to the people of South Carolina.
Well, listen, Michelle, after seeing some people who call themselves the president and some people who are running to be senators in certain states, I think the bar, I don't even think there's a bar anymore. I was going to say the bar has been lowered. I think the bar has just been removed completely. And just they'll let it. So you are more than qualified. So you talked about family, and you talked about representation and not seeing a lot of people that look like you, just in terms of your background and your gender. I talked about it earlier in the monologue. There's so much on the ballot. A woman's right to determine, especially here in this state, a woman's right to determine whether or not she even wants to have a child, because I've been calling hypocrisy and BS for a long time. Even as a little kid, my mom, who's watching me, would even tell you that. I never understood why. How is it that men want to tell women what to do with their body? Because men would never tolerate it. Trust me. I'm sure you could ask your husband. If we had to have babies and go through the vaginal birth and C-section, you could go to a football tailgating party. You could go to a strip club and get lemon pepper wings, a lap dance, and terminate a pregnancy. Men wouldn't tolerate, they would never tolerate anyone telling them what they could do with their body. So I just find it so ridiculous and hypocritical. And I mean, I understand the real reason why, but there's so many things on the ballot. If we had to pick maybe the top 3 things that you want to accomplish, maybe legislation that you want to co-sponsor or fight for, what would those top 3 things be?
For me and the district, it would be affordable housing, number one. I myself I'm a renter, and it is a struggle. I've met so many people out canvassing that they're saying affordable housing is like, it's so difficult. So I would love to work on that. And then I think the next thing would be improving our schools. My kids just got home, so if you hear
it's okay.
little voices,
it's live TV. I love it.
So improving our schools and education, and then I want to say I took a look at the budget with some of my staff, and there's like $3 billion that go into funding our schools, and I honestly think the money could be properly reallocated to increase teacher pay.
Yes.
And to treat teachers like the professionals that they are, give them actual lunch breaks where they're not working, and give them the resources they need so they don't have to use their own money to purchase supplies. And then the third issue I think would be, what is the hot button issue right now, is fighting for the reproductive rights of everyone in our community. I mean, it impacts so many families, and I don't really think that my opponent or the opposition really understands like the complexity and the nuance of abortion and healthcare and all the little things that we don't think about, that we take for granted, that our doctors know. So we should listen to them. We should listen about all the different things that could go wrong, and leave those decisions between the patient and their healthcare provider, and politicians should stay out of it.
Absolutely. We got too many, like I said, too many unqualified people running for office, too many unqualified people talking about, well, there's a teacher shortage, so you don't have to have a degree in teaching. We'll just put anybody in the classroom. And I think it's so disrespectful to teachers. I just think it's disrespectful that you have to study. Teachers or even a politician, you would think that you would have to have a level of curiosity, and you have to read and really prepare to represent people or prepare to teach children. And it just seems it's a climate now to where qualifications, receipts don't matter. Oh, what the hell? Just, the loudest and angriest voices. And people talking about banning books, which is totally ridiculous. So how can people learn more about you, support your campaign, support the Sisters campaign? As a matter of fact, Election Day is 6 weeks away, 42 days exactly. But early voting here in South Carolina begins when?
October 24th begins early voting. You don't need to have any reason to vote early. You just show up with your ID. So I know a lot of people, like, if you have moved or you're not sure, just go to your early voting location with your ID and you should be able to vote. And then Election Day is November 8th.
And for people, and I can't stress this enough, check your voter registration status to make sure you haven't been purged or kicked off the roll somehow miraculously. And if you have not registered to vote, take 25, 50, rent a party bus, act like you're going to the Essence Festival, act like you're going to the Super Bowl, have a party, pop some champagne and have a caterer there and just have a grand old time and go register to vote, or have that party bus on Election Day when you go vote. What's the last day to actually register to vote? I believe, was it the first? It's a couple weeks away, am I right?
I think
it's 30 days before Election Day.
Yes.
Okay, so if Election Day is November 8th, then October 8th is next week.
Yep. So go register right now. Go check right now. It takes like 1 minute to go check your status online, or go find a little piece of paper. And then please, if you're not sure, reach out to your local county officials to vote. And you asked about how people can get in touch with me. You can go to my website at www.michelleforsc.com, and the 4 is FOR spelled out. And you can also check me out on social media. I am on Instagram at MichelleForSC. I'm on Facebook at MichelleForSC, and Twitter at MichelleForSC. And I am on TikTok. I don't like to talk about it that much. I can be a little silly on there, but you can follow me on TikTok at MichelleB4114.
Well, you know what, Michelle? But it's just you being you. It's you're showing that you're human.
Yes.
I mean, we have titles as politicians, state representatives, state senators, governors, presidents, media personalities, entertainers. At the end of the day, we are human. We have good days, like Megan Thee Stallion said. We have bad days. As she said, even bad bitches have bad days too. I love Meg. I am not mad at Megan Thee Stallion.
I am a fan of Meg Thee Stallion.
I love the energy. So Meg, I ain't mad at you, my sister. Go ahead and secure that bag. But I was just saying that, listen, I think it's great that people get to see a human side of you, a fun side. Like you said, you're a mom, you're a wife. So you are a full grown person that wants to represent District 114 here in the state of South Carolina. Thank you, Michelle Brandt. Support this sister. Get her, because I see a bright future ahead of you. My mom is watching, and my mom and my grandparents taught me. My grandmother would say, Jeannie, name it and claim it. Speak it into existence. So I'm speaking into existence the next representative for District 114. You see her on camera right now, Michelle Brandt. But you got to help the sister out. Support her campaign. Campaigns need money. All right. Yeah. So I'm telling y'all, support. She needs volunteers to do all that good stuff. So go to her website once again. Give it to the viewers one more time.
www.michelleforsc.com.
Michelle, you have a permanent home before and after you are elected here on the Geno Jones Show. Feel free to come on and talk about politics or pieces of legislation, any issue, or we can just talk about Megan Thee Stallion or the Essence Festival or who's going to win the Super Bowl or whatever you're into. You have a permanent home here on my show. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure. It was really great to meet you in person, and it's just great having you on the show. So please feel free, come back before Election Day so we can get that last minute get out the vote. Maybe when early voting starts, or right before Election Day. I'd love to have you back on the show.
Okay, thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. All right. She is just really, just, some people, when you see some people or when some people walk in a room, you just feel better. It's like the room lights up. And then when some people walk into a room, it's like an eclipse and the room gets dark and you feel anxious, anxiety, tension, the energies is negative. She is a person that you saw on camera, just a beautiful, bright smile, a beautiful spirit, and a very brilliant black woman. So got a chance to follow her. So I'm just telling you, this is an unpaid endorsement. She didn't even ask me to. I'm just giving you all a heads up. So the people that live in the District 114 here in South Carolina, you will be very blessed and fortunate to have someone like Michelle Brandt represent you up in Columbia, the State House in Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. And God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show on the Geno Jones YouTube channel. Subscribe, share, like, and binge watch this and every episode if you don't see it live. But I want to shout out everybody that's watching me live right now. Everybody in my chat room. Hello to my mother, my #1 fan and my executive producer. Thank you very much. And Michelle, if you're still watching, my mother was very impressed with just your spirit and just she could just tell that you are sharp, a brilliant woman, and if she lived in the district, you would have her vote. So once again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Wednesday, tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Once again, anybody watching me in Florida, especially Central Florida, I think most of the entire state is going to be affected. But the area around Tampa, St. Petersburg, I believe Sarasota, the southwestern part of Florida, it looks like Hurricane Ian is making a beeline to make a direct hit in that area. And we will get some of the rain and storms, and we won't get the hurricane, because once the hurricane is over land, it gets weaker, but it still will dump a lot of rain and high wind. But the people in the southwestern part of Florida, let's lift them up in prayer, because it looks like this hurricane is going to hit sometime Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So there you go. We know. There's my screen test for the Weather Channel. I'll take another check. Shout out to the Weather Channel. I could be your hip hop weatherman. How about that? All right, everybody. I want to thank you for watching. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram, Kel B Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show, aka the Drip Director. You can check her out on Instagram. L like Lexi, X like extra, dot, N like Nanette, C like Charlie, L like Lexi, underscores that little dash below. So that's LX.NCL underscore. Thanks for watching again, everybody. And once again, I want to thank Michelle Brandt. She is the candidate to represent District 114, state representative here in South Carolina. If you missed the conversation, go back and watch it. I will see you Wednesday live, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And until then, as always, be blessed. Pray for peace. Pray for the people in South Florida, southwestern Florida. This hurricane coming that way. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.